We're moving now on into the depths of what it is to lose the love which was lost in the Garden of Eden. In the last sessions, we've been exploring the nature of jealousy as a looking towards the other with the eyes are the opposite of love. If loving eyes are looking towards the other with a desire and a drive that that person should flourish, should be blessed, should be expanded, should become the most great and powerful and wise human being possible, so then the attitude of jealousy is always one in which there's a comparison of myself to that other, and a sense that anything that they have ultimately is taking away from my sense of realness, making me smaller, making me more mortal, making me more constrained. And the ultimate jealousy really is the jealousy that human beings have towards God as the ultimately liberated, ultimately freed, ultimately ultimate, purposeful, freely able to bring about the very greatest. Himself is fully and completely realized and manifest. And we, creatures of fluctuation, of struggle, of constraint, yearn to have those divine aspects. And we do when we learn how to really be in touch with them in a way of love. But that first movement of the human being was instead out of jealousy, with a sense that I do not have it, God does have it, and I will eat from this tree in order to have what he has, rather than to become like him by becoming a liberated, loving human being, one who gives and blesses the way God does. So the Creator became someone who creative human beings wanted to be like, and a way in which they wanted to have what God has, rather than what God is to become expressed through them. So in terms of the life of love, what we seek for the other comes from a real sense of our own fullness, of what we seek to share, that we vibrate together with that other. And just like I have blessing, I have fullness, I have creativity, and I see that in another. I see that, and I want that to be fully manifest in them, because we're on the same wavelength. We're vibrating with the same vibration. We're on the same frequency. And if I'm a G sharp, so I want that G sharp to be augmented as much as possible, even if it's not through my musical instrument, but it's through the violin and the flute and the French horn, even though what I'm playing is a clarinet. It's not taking away from my G sharp, it's augmenting it, it's giving it more color. It's actually bringing through the same thing which I have that is now coming to expression through them in a way in which we really resonate together. That's the picture of love which stands in the antithesis of jealousy, and is really a magnificent invitation if we step away from that first removal, that first alienation of the first Adam that was filled with the kin'ah towards Hashem. So this time we're going to now go to the next statement of the Mishnah, which we're guiding ourselves through, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, in the 4th chapter of the teachings of our fathers, or the most primary teachings, I think, which is really the better translation. It's not about our fathers and ancestors. It's an Av is something which is a primary teaching. So the primary teaching in the 4th chapter, which we're working with, is that what alienated the first human being from the life which was meant to be hers, right, the androgynous creature Adam, was first of all this jealousy which took them away from themselves and thereby lost them to themselves, and also they did not get what it was that they were jealous for. As it is always with jealousy, you lose both yourself, because you're not starting from a sense of self. You're not starting from a sense of your own fullness. You're looking outwards to take away from them what they have. So there's another movement which is called ta'ava, and that's what we're going to be exploring now. Ta'ava is not about me wanting that they should not have what they have, but rather that I should take possession of them as an object to serve my passions. I seek to take you to give me pleasure, to give me benefit, to give me something which I don't really necessarily sense that my selfhood needs, but rather a externalized part of myself, which is impassioned and inflamed to have that. Something which is almost generated from within, a titillation, which seeks to bring to myself energies which will be swallowed from what the other has and the other is. And I'd like to step right into the example that the Bible gives. The very first example of the use of that word is right there in the Garden of Eden. Ta'avahu le'einayim. The tree was a ta'ava. And again, this word means appetite, lust, energized, needy, compulsive neediness, obsessiveness, okay? And it was a ta'ava la'einayim, meaning that something in what she saw about that tree awakened and aroused her, that she must have it for herself. She must have it. That kind of a drivenness is what really defines ta'ava. And later we will be told in the Ten Commandments, lo titaveh, no, don't go there, about your neighbor's possessions or your neighbor's wife. Don't go there. That's the 10th commandment. And it's very much at the ground of where they all lead to know the truth of the life which you have been given. But right now, I want us to take a look at that usage of it. But there's a later usage, which is really the next time it's used in a significant way, which is in the parasha Ba'alotcha, which describes how the Israelites began to travel. You know, in the desert, they had been next to the mountain. They had been in the full glory of being in the presence of the divine. There's the holy tabernacle and the divine presence in it. There's a lot that's very filled with the fullness and satisfaction of simple being. You know, we're so used to the Israelites being complainers, but that complaining actually begins when they begin to travel, when they lose the sense of their having this a solid and certain place, and they begin to move into the dynamic of change and of growth. And then immediately it says vayit avu ta'ava, that they actually created from within themselves the ta'ava, meaning it wasn't a ta'ava le'einayim, something that they saw. It's actually something which they generated in the reflexive sense. And alongside that comes another word, which is that they were kimit onanim, which is a strange word, usually translated as they were like complainers, like people with pain. Ona'ah is also pain. But more primarily and more primally, the word Aleph Vav Nun is actually the root for the word ani. They became completely self-involved in a way in which they were only seeking that which would gain them what it is that they had created within themselves, having a desire for. I mean, that's weird. Why don't they just be with what is? Why don't they just be with that which is truly the fulfillment of what it is that they are and can live with? Why can't they just be with life as it is? Well, this is the product of demanding and desiring individuation and judgment in a way in which the judgment is about what's good for me, what's bad for me. Yes, we're harking back to that first eating from the tree of distinction, of delineation, of differentiation, of judgment between what is good and what is not good. It's not a matter of evil. It's good and bad, meaning good for me, bad for me. This is an object that I find tasteful. This is an object I find distasteful. It harks back there. Everything's revolving around me. It's not what that object needs. It's not what life needs. It's not what I'm participating in. It's what's going to serve me. That is what she became attracted to when she saw with her eyes the ta'ava le'inayim. This can serve me. This can give me pleasure. This can give me purpose. This can give me a life. This can, whatever it is you think that external thing is going to give you, and become obsessed with having it for yourself. That's called a mit'aveh ta'ava. You're generating within yourself this need because of your experience of your emptiness and lack, and that is what's going to fulfill it. Okay. Now that word mitonanim, I'll give you another reading, which is actually the most distasteful of them all, but also the most primal. And that is, there was a person called Onain in the Torah who did not want to give his seed to his sister-in-law to replace the soul of his brother who had died. And so he spilled his seed on the ground. This is called Onain. And this actually becomes the image of the kind of self-involvement which doesn't want the pleasure of sex to be something which is shared with another, but rather is only about my getting that pleasure for myself, not something that can be turned into a life which is the two of us, but rather is an act which is really only about me. And in fact, there are studies about this which are highly relevant to what we're talking about now. When a person is mit'aveh and mitonain, right, gets involved in giving oneself as a masturbation, that pleasure, there's always this mood drop which comes after it, a kind of a sadness which accompanies it. And this has nothing to do with the sense of this being evil or sinful. We're not only talking about religious people or people of cultures that look down upon it. Even as much as the psychologist might tell the teenager, hey, it's okay, he's going to have that experience. And the reason he's having that experience is because there's physiologically a built-in mechanism that after the sexual involvement, there'll be a desire simply to hug, to be close to participate together with the other in the creation of a new life, whether it be in the bonding of these two together or whether it be in the child that will be born. But when it's all being mitonain and it's all just being mit'aveh, it's all a self-generated desire and drive, then the type of experience that it is one which is separating, alienating of the person, both from the world and ultimately from his or her own self, because the self is seeking that expansion which comes by virtue of love and instead is completely closed in upon itself. The other classic example of this in the Bible is that of Amnon and Tamar, a story which is told in the book of Samuel and the book of Shmuel about two people in the court of King David, Amnon and Tamar. And Amnon had a desire, had a passion, had a lusting for Tamar and wanted simply to sleep with her. And she refused to be alone with her. And she refused. And he got love sick, which is an indication, that kind of a love sick of an infatuation, which doesn't really have to do with the other, but has to do with one's own generated needs. Finally, she acquiesced to come into his room and be there to prepare for him some food. And I asked that at least they be alone while she's preparing that. And she foolishly and innocently agreed to that. And he raped her when she came close and raped her. And immediately the Torah describes, the Tanakh describes, the Bible describes, immediately after that, he hated her. He hated her. Oh my gosh. How did he move from that desire to hatred? Because the truth is that his desire and his passion was based in hatred, in self-hatred, in my sense that I can only be something of value and worth if I have that titillation satisfied, if I have energies that are going to be given pleasure by that other, if they can become an object that I assert my needs upon and have them satisfied there. And so he, in that rape of her and turning her into an object for his own pleasure, the true and deep hatred which he had for himself, the true and deep hatred which really he had for life and the true drives of life came forth. And she became the object of his hatred as a representation of his own lack, his own emptiness, which led to that obsession which he had had for her. Oh my gosh, you can hear how opposite this is of love. And in fact, the rabbis in Pirkei Avot, also in the book of the primary teachings, say that kol ahava shetluya badavar, any kind of a love which is dependent for its being upon some object, well, that love will never last. And what is the example of that? The example of that is Amnon and Tamar. Why? Because it was a love which wasn't a love. It was a drive. It was a drivenness. The rabbis are willing to call it ahava shetluya badavar, so we'll get the idea of it. It was completely dependent upon an object. Any love which is dependent upon an object is itself an indication of the fact that this is something coming from lack, and lack can never be the source of love. And so this next teaching here gives us a very harsh and stark picture of something which is called ta'ava, as that which takes us away from ourselves, from the fullness of ourselves, from the realness of ourselves, from the preciousness of ourselves, which is really the source of our being able to share a life with another in love, and rather is built upon the vacuousness, the emptiness, the falsehoods, and the judgment which is built on, is this going to serve me or not going to serve me? See how profoundly opposite this is from the nature of love as this resonant vibration with the other. See now also this next level as love as having indeed a passion for that other, for a shared life and a shared being, not that they should become the object for my pleasures, that our marriage or whatever context it will be one in which we are both in a mutual interaction, seeking the service and the betterment of each other. And this is not in any way to belittle passion. And we will get to that on its own. But right now, suffice it to say that to have relations, to have a love relationship, certainly in the marriage love relationship, the element of passion and desire is crucial for the couple to come together. But we'll need to explore that on its own. But in its right context, it is the dearest and the sweetest of pleasures, but not in the context which is being described here when we're talking about the nature of the things which block us. Well, I mean, the truth is, in the same way that jealousy turns into a zealousness, the same word in Hebrew, kanai and kanaut, the same word, possessiveness, which is something which I must have what you have for myself, as opposed to a zealousness for that person not being taken over by any other. These are examples, and in the case of Tava also, that I have a drivenness for you out of my sense of helpless emptiness, or my desire for you comes out of a true excitement over the sharing of life and our life forces together to grow them. You see how these are not negations, but rather they are two paths in similar places. And the question will be whether I'm acting out of da'ato vara, my opinion of whether this serves me, my judgments, or de'a, my experience of a consciousness which is shared, enlarged, grown, expanded by virtue of the love? Will it be de'ah or da'at? Will it be the tree of life or the tree of judgments and self-involvement? Will it be the tree of sharing and being at one with each other? Or will it be the tree of differentiation and distinction in the negative sense of a self-involvement which doesn't see selfhood as forever growing and expanding by virtue of its connection to another? And so this is the second of the statements in the Mishnah, which is the loss of what we're meant to have. But thank God, it's not a loss which is irretrievable, but it is a warning of what you need to notice when you're looking at that person. Is it something which you're seeking in that person to serve you? Is it something you're seeking to take for your pleasure from that person? Or is it something you're seeking to share, to grow together, to innovate together, to expand together? That will determine whether your passion is a ta'ava, which is of da'at, or of de'ah. And I invite you to meditate with me in a way which will enable us to enhance the powers of de'ah in our attractions. In this meditation, we're going to be exploring how to move our ta'ava into a meeting of connection that's alive, but without lust. We'll be using either an imagined object or an actual object you can put down in front of you, like a piece of chocolate or something which you have drives for that perhaps sometimes seem not aligned with what indeed you are needing, but rather something you are simply driven for. If you're going to use an object, put it in front of you now. And let's close our eyes and move into a condition of a de'ah, the kind of expansive consciousness which becomes available to us as we let go and relax and come in touch with our inner indelible wealth. Close your eyes and take a nice deep breath, allowing yourself to come into a simple presence in this makom, in this place. As you exhale, release any tension that you're holding. Breathe in a luxurious way inwards again. This time breathing towards your heart. Feel your stomach expanding and your heart enjoying this. And release slowly through your lips. Now just follow your breath in and out. Feel the support you have from the chair you're sitting on. Sense the ground stable under your feet. Allow your shoulders to relax, perhaps moving them slightly backwards as your presence is enhanced by the simple goodness of being. I want to invite you to turn your face slightly upwards, allowing your jaw to relax, perhaps even to drop, allowing your eyes to calm, noticing how all the muscles in your forehead are simply unwinding, and those in your scalp have calmed. Feel a space opening up between your eyes and eyebrows. And sense as if there's a warm, kind light of love shining down on your face. Sense how it even penetrates, especially through your forehead and between your eyes, penetrating into your mind, into your throat, spreading throughout your body, filling you with a light of love, compassion, and gratitude for it. Feel the fullness of the divine presence as it fills you. Let yourself experience the love which is directed at you now, transmitted through the beautiful, pure light shining on your face from above. Now I want to invite you to bring up an image of something towards which you feel tava, or to open your eyes and look at the object you've placed before you. And as you do that, to sense the attraction, the draw, and as you begin to sense that attraction and draw, take a deep breath in, feeling as you breathe in how your entire inner being is filled with a warm light. And as you breathe out, sense how that warm light is really very much you. That being filled by it actually being a satiation with the being which is yours. Let that fill you as you look again towards the object of your tava. Sense the shift. As I look towards it, I feel, let whatever word comes up be there. As I look towards it, I know. Breathe again deeply. Sense the shift deepening. Awaken a sense of shared being with that object. a sharedness, that oneness which Daya opens to you. Sense how that oneness is present as a connecting energy between you. Breathe in again, keeping both attentive to your breath, to the sense of simple being shared, and an awareness of the object. Know that this presence is always available to you. Shifting Tava to a simple connection of Dea. And now let go of that external object and return inwards. Sense your breath, breathing in and out. Your presence on your chair. The space around you which holds you. The dearness which is yours.